It was mentioned by one Australian doctor who visited Bangladesh at that time. His name is Dr. Geoffrey Davis. So he mentioned in his report, let me read a few lines from the report. It was published, Dr. Davis' accounts have been published in Banglar Bani, December 1972. The report says, a large number of women raped by Pakistanis are suffering from infertility of sexually transmitted diseases. Sydney's Dr. Geoffrey Davis recently said in London that these women were mainly suffering from syphilis or gonorrhea or both, and most had abortion, which could lead to infertility or can suffer from the diseases from the rest of the life. Dr. Davis, who arrived in Dhaka when the victims were at least 18 weeks pregnant, said 170,000 women took the help of quacks or village doctors with no educational background for abortion before the international help arrived, either because they were forced to do so or were victims of the social condition. Some girls suffered immensely because they were too young to have sex, and even if they could afford to a doctor, it would be difficult to find a man to marry them, he said. Doctors working at a government clinic to help the tortured women estimated their number at about 200,000, but Dr. Davis rejected the figure, saying that it was over 400,000, and of them 170,000 have been abortioned. Many of 30,000 out of 200,000 government estimated committed suicide, and some kept their babies. Dr. Davis reasoned to clarify his stand on the figure by saying on an average 2 women were reported missing daily, which put the number at 200,000, as the Pakistani troops controlled 480 police stations for 270 days. No count of women raped in villages, as the occupation forces moved from one village to another, and they kept many of them in their camps to meet their sexual demands. Many of these women were thrown out of the camps or killed when they got pregnant or were infected with disease. Some of areas, girls as young as 12 or 13 were repeatedly raped and kept naked always so that they cannot flee. So this is an account of a medical doctor, a doctor from Australia. Very recently he died, and I had a chance to interview him. And I have interviewed a number of victims who were in concentration camp, male or female. And the reasons, I can, in that book, it is available in our website. The title is that Tormenting 71. There I have noted, our time is up. Okay, the reasons, the why and how they were being tortured in the concentration camp. We know the killings. We always say that 3 million people were being killed, but we don't know how many people suffered in the concentration camp, and they are still suffering. And that is the reason, we'd like to, request the organizers of this conference that the time has come. As we have heard, that suffering people are still they are crying for justice. And time has come to correct the mistake of the past. As we know that present American government, they are for a change. President Barack Obama called for a change, and we want to see that change in regarding the 71's war. Last year, I had a chance to had a discussion with this congressman who is the chair of the Bangladesh caucus. And I pleaded that you should adopt a resolution in the American Congress recognizing Bangladesh genocide, and you should condemn, at least you should condemn the genocide. That is very much needed. And he assured me that last year, US Congress, they acknowledged the genocide of Armenia. And he said, let us look for the best, let us look forward, and definitely within this year or the next year, I hope that US Congress will acknowledge the genocide of Bangladesh and condemn those who perpetrated the genocide. Thank you very much.
For those people who registered and gave us email addresses, we will be notifying you in the next couple of weeks when we will be showing one of Dr. Kabir's documentary films at the Kean campus.